Hi guys, Toby Morrison here. Today I wanted to talk about suffering, and I've got to get this quote from my phone because I actually uploaded it on Instagram today, and there's been plenty of feedback, and I really thought it rang true to me and also a lot of other people. And it says, "An arrow can only be shot by pulling it backwards. When life is dragging you back with difficulties, it means it's going to launch you into something great. So just focus and keep aiming." So, in other words, what it's saying is that sometimes suffering can be the catalyst of something positive and amazing later on in life. And I remember when I was really struggling and suffering with my illness of chronic fatigue syndrome, that I just thought there was no hope, or there was no answer, or there was no real reason or good reason why this was happening to me. And that was, 10 years ago now. So, anyway, what happened was that I remember my dad used to come into my bedroom when I was asleep or when I was, in heaps of pain. And he kept saying to me, one day you'll realise why this happened, and this was a blessing in disguise. And I used to hate him for it. I used to tell him to get lost and, get out of my room and, slam the door. 10 years on, I can actually understand what he was trying to say. And, that hard suffering for 4 years that I had, the ups and downs, the sleepless nights, the loss of friendship groups, the loss of relationships, a big loss of a lot of things. I gained a lot as well, and I gained a lot from experience and suffering. And now I'm blessed to be able to pass that suffering and learning and education and inspiration to people worldwide. And my dad was right at that time 10 years ago that there was a reason behind why I was sick. And there was a reason why there was going to be a blessing in disguise later on. 10 years on, I've helped hundreds of people recover from CFS. I've met thousands of people in the process, just by doing what I do. I've given myself a great, satisfaction and gratification just by seeing people transform to bigger and better people emotionally and physically. It's almost been a bit of a whirlwind, and someone just came into my office before and said, congratulated me on all my achievements in the book that I've written and all that kind of stuff. And, she almost broke down and started crying, and she said, it's just so nice to see, something so positive come from something so negative. And I guess, 10 years in the making, it wasn't a coincidence, or it wasn't a fluke that this has happened. The fact that I've transformed from such a negative experience into a positive one was because I guess I just wanted to share my experience and suffering with other people, so I could relate to them and they could relate to me, and then also they can gain some experience and education and inspiration to benefit themselves and their own lives. And day in, day out, I get to see people come in on quite a low, or come in on a low period of their lives to then in months' time, develop into something that they never thought they would think once was possible, and that is to start living again and enjoying their life. I've had people who can barely walk up the front of my stairs at work, to people collapsing after walking for 2 minutes. People with leg pain so severe that they feel like they've got some kind of weird disease that deteriorates their muscles. It's been quite amazing, and I just wanted to share with you that sometimes suffering is not a bad thing, and it might be whether to do with your relationships. It could be to do with that you're suffering from your career. It could be that you're suffering from a severe illness or disease, which is a big case for many people out there in the world. People suffer worldwide, and it's really important that you actually embrace it almost, and that you actually progress from that suffering and realise that there is a reason behind it. You just need to figure out what that reason is. And although it's hard at the time and you feel like you're never going to be able to get through it, keep a positive head, keep a positive mind frame, because you will get through it if you're willing enough to get through it. And it takes time, and it takes persistence, and it takes patience and commitment and drive, but you can get there if you put your mind to it. There's been some amazing stories of people overcoming severe illnesses, people overcoming huge relationship issues, huge career problems, to then living life to the fullest. And so I just wanted you to realise that sometimes suffering is not a bad thing, and that you should almost embrace it and be proud of it. And don't be afraid to ask for help. This is one of the biggest things I had when I was struggling, is that I felt so insecure to get help from anyone else. And it's a typical male syndrome that we have, that we feel we're not tough or strong if we don't ask, if we ask for help. And that's a load of crap. And I just want to clear that up right now, that it's totally fine to get help and ask for help and see people for help, whether it's a psychologist, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a coach, whether it's just asking your friends or your family. It's okay. And there's a big message out there for males and females that if you're hurting or if you're suffering, ask for help. Don't feel obliged, to not ask for it, because people will help you if you ask for it. And a lot of the time we're not mind readers, so you need to speak up and tell people how you are actually feeling, and ask for help, because at the end of the day, life's about enjoying it and trying to get the most out of yourself and just living. Whereas if you're suffocating yourself with all these problems and issues, and you're not really getting help or dealing with your suffering, then it can really affect your life for a long period of time, to the point where it's not fun anymore. So my advice to you today is that don't feel silly if you need help, and simply just ask for it. And send me an email if you want me to help you, or ask your best friend if you can have a chat to them. Ask your mum and dad if you can talk to them. But just talking to someone can be a huge relief and really beneficial in the long run. I hope that helps.